So I thought while we were closed here at Duxford, I'd make a silly little video on perhaps some of the lesser known things of Duxford. There's probably heaps of you do know everything about Duxford, but yeah, so while we're closed, obviously we still have a security presence, hence me and my colleagues are here. So I'm in the land warfare. Now, when I started at Duxford, I was a sign maker for a while, so I had to make that sign there. What was it like to be a soldier on D-Day? And I had to go in and literally redesign all the A's so that they weren't the sort of squirrely A's, they were normal A's. Don't know why, but had to. I think it was perhaps because children are used to writing letters like that rather than the other A. Well, yeah, this will be a bit stop-start, because I'm no camera woman, as you'll find out. When land warfare was first built, it ended here. And we used to have Monty's staff car there. And so we got the D-Day exhibition put on many years later. Now, some of the models in this building are real people. Well, they don't come alive at night, maybe they do, but they are based on real people. And so this chap here, we wouldn't have land warfare if it wasn't for that chap there, because he got it off the ground and, you know, he helped to design it, build it. I'll never forget the night when it first opened and we were all in here cleaning until about midnight, and we had fish and chips. It was brilliant. The guy, one of the guys on the tank there, he still works here, just there. Ooh, just there. Yeah, again, many years ago in land warfare, we used to have a little cafe. It was just in the lobby area up there. And because there was food in here, it attracted a lovely little family of robins. And so they lived in here for a while the cafe was open, eating the crumbs. They even managed to get in when we were closed, but they actually took nest right in the back there of the tank transporter, which was lovely to see the little robin families being born and then fleeing the nest. I keep starting with every year, or years ago, it's because I've been here for years. Yeah, this field kitchen here, that used to be a little bit closer to the walkway years ago. And one visitor came in and was looking inside it, and back then we used to have this little shift mascot, and he was a garden gnome. He had a real knitted hat on, and he carried a radio and a toilet roll. And so we would put him in various places around the museum when we used to move around. And this one lady was looking in there, and we'd put him in there. And her husband said, "What's in there?" And she said, "Oh, it's just a garden gnome with a woolly hat on." So that was quite amusing. Another visitor actually said, "Oh, imagine the poor men who had to be in there." Another visitor actually, they complained about the trees when we first opened for putting them in such an unnatural environment. So I can't remember who pointed it out, but they were obviously very tactful when they said they're not real. So just in the Cambridgeshire Regiment bit now, I love this little illustration of all these caricatures. I don't know if any of you have ever been to Anglesey Abbey, but that chap there is Lord Fairhaven, who lived at Anglesey Abbey. And he gave quite a substantial amount of money to the war effort, so they named a Spitfire after him, or it was called Cambridge. Yeah, sometimes you'd get these rich benefactors, so his was Cambridge, and I think his brother had a Hurricane. So over the years, you can imagine I've met some really lovely people, and one of those lovely people was Colonel Rich Graham, pilot of the SR-71. And I got to ask him a question, and I said, "How do you go for a wee when you're up there?" And he said, well, in their suits, he said they would have obviously an arrangement going on around the crotch area, and he said that that would all go through a little tube, and they'd have a sponge around their ankle that would soak up all the urine. I didn't ask him, how do you do a number 2? I thought that was a bit above and beyond, really. But he did say as well that with their space food, he said if they wanted it warm, he said he would put it on the dash of the SR-71. It would get hot, turn it over, and then he said, you know, he'd put it in through his tube and he had hot food. So that was interesting. As you can see, I am in the American Air Museum. I can remember this being built, actually. This was all fields when I was a girl, and the crane was so tall that the guy would take his lunch up there, and there was even a toilet up there. So, I don't know if you'll see this very well, but this Liberator we have in American Air Museum, it didn't see combat, and I cannot remember where it was sat as a gate guardian, but obviously it was where people could scratch their names into it on the fuselage. And just here it says Elvis Presley, 1957. Now I know you'll say, Jen, Elvis Presley doesn't have two S's in Presley. But then there is the theory that that was how he really spelt his name, and that's how he got away with it, so he's not really dead. Now, you might think I'm just showing you a concrete wall, which I am. But over the years, this has attracted some marvellous wildlife. There was once on here a beautiful moth called a burnet moth. And again, a couple of years ago, this whole wall was covered in little silk moths. And they're the most beautiful looking moth. They're pure white, and they look like they've got like a feather boa on. And when the American Air Museum was first built, we used to get a lot of Devil's Coach horse beetles. So if you don't know what they are, look them up. They're the goth of the beetle world, I think. Here's our beautiful little prefab. It is looking a bit sorry for itself at the moment, but hopefully it'll be restored at some point. Again, God, I keep saying many years ago. I started here in 1993, that's why. This lovely dress here, this white dress, that was originally brown. So that shows you how faded that's got. There is actually stuff in all the drawers as well. We used to be able to go in and clean in there. And I can remember there was this lovely one that had a limerick in this autograph book. Kids, if you don't know what an autograph book is, you probably won't look it up. That's what we used to do before internet, get people's autographs. And it had the most wonderful limerick in it. And it said, there was a young lady from Hyde who ate a green apple and died. The apple fermented inside the lamented and made cider inside her insides. Marvellous. Now, I love this little known fact about Duxford. Some people know it, but not everyone. You're saying, Jen, why are you showing us a brick wall? What's so exciting about a brick wall? Well, this is what's exciting about this brick wall. So there's a little brass plaque there, just above the damp course, and it says, our cat Spot passed over. Hang on, I have to get my glasses on. Passed over 21st of January, 1969, Duxford. And the initials at the top are MPBW, and I've never really known what that is. Did wonder if MP was military police, but because I think we were on care and maintenance in 1969, but obviously this little cat was well thought of. So this is one of our memorial benches, and it's dedicated to a chap called Harold Bates, RAF age 21, who died tragically in 1952. So I'll just go into hangar 5 and I'll let you know what happened. So you can see there's a yellow cross on the floor there, and poor Harold met a very unfortunate end. He was working on, I'm not sure what jet it was, sorry, but he accidentally set off the ejector seat, which then forced him up into the rafters here of hangar 5. So poor old Harold definitely had a very tragic end, but is marked with these beautiful crosses here so that we don't forget him. Please don't come over the barriers to look at it, though, I have to say that. If you really do have a lust for it, then just ask someone. So again, speaking of unfortunate ends, see if we can get that a bit better. There we go. This was found, I believe, in the Vulcan when it was being restored. Two little unfortunate rook chicks there by the look of it. But it's the most marvellous nest they've used, apart from sticks, all sort of wire and cable in it. So again, yeah, you can't see this one, but I just wanted to show you it. So I'm sure many of you have sat on these seats, and they're actually both dedicated to George Grumpy. I hope you can hear over the wind. And some people say, how did Grumpy Unwin get his name? And it was quite interesting. Apparently, Douglas Bader, they were in their dormitory. Douglas Bader was taken off his tin leg and making a bit of a noise about it, and George said to him, "Can't you keep quiet?" And then Douglas Bader said, "Shut up, Grumpy," and the name stuck. So it was something like that. But yeah, that's his seat there. Both seats there. I'm sure there's many among you have used these toilets. Well, just the gents, I hope. But yeah, what's interesting about these is those crosses and circles that you can see there. They were for the gunners to help calibrate their sights. And as you know, we've got a few gun butts at Duxford, so yeah, they place their aircraft there, line up their guns to make sure their sights were accurate. So I'm sure you'll have probably seen these around Duxford, but it says there, stamp your historic Duxford activity sheet here. So if you put a piece of paper in there and pull the handle, it will emboss on there a little scarab beetle, and the scarab beetle was the emblem for 64 Squadron. And while the cement was still wet, someone used their finger to put a little scarab in there. You can't see it that well, but there he is. So that was for 64 Squadron. So I thought I'd just end the little tour here of a very lonely Duxford. I can say that we are all missing you being here, and I'm sure you're all missing being here as well. But hopefully this won't go on for too much longer, and we'll all be here again in the summertime. Before summertime, I hope. So I hope you've enjoyed this silly little tour. Yeah, sorry for my camera work, but well, I shall look forward to seeing you all again when we do open.